The digital display flickered with an alien signature that shouldn't exist. Captain Jessica Rodriguez felt the hair on the back of her neck rise as the first transmission cut through Earth's monitoring systems. Outside the reinforced command center carved deep beneath the Colorado Rocky Mountains, the world continued its mundane existence, unaware of the cosmic threat materializing at the edge of human perception. "Confirm signal origin," Rodriguez barked, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Marcus Williams, worked furiously at the holographic interface, his fingers dancing across quantum-encrypted displays that separated verified data from potential interference. The command center was a marvel of human engineering, a testament to decades of paranoid preparation and technological innovation. Built to withstand multiple simultaneous global catastrophes, the facility represented humanity's ultimate insurance policy. Massive cooling systems hummed beneath reinforced titanium graphene composite walls, maintaining a perfect operational environment for the most advanced tracking systems ever conceived. "Triangulating now," Williams responded, his voice a controlled professional monotone. "Initial readings suggest extrasolar origin, completely outside our known stellar charting databases." Rodriguez studied the incoming data stream. What had begun as a faint electronic whisper was rapidly transforming into a complex communication matrix. The signal didn't just breach human communication protocols. It obliterated them with an elegance that suggested profound technological sophistication. Across the room, Dr. Elena Kovacs, the facility's chief xenolinguistic analyst, leaned forward with an intensity that bordered on obsession. Her reputation for decoding the impossible preceded her, a brilliant mind that had spent decades preparing for a moment most considered pure scientific fantasy. "This isn't a random transmission," Kovacs muttered, more to herself than to her colleagues. "This is deliberate, calculated. Each algorithmic pattern suggests an intelligence far beyond our current comprehension." The facility's primary quantum computer began processing the alien transmission. Layers of encryption peeled away like digital skin, revealing increasingly complex communication structures. What had initially appeared as random noise was gradually revealing itself as a sophisticated language with grammatical complexity that defied human linguistic models. Outside the command center, the world continued its routine. Morning commuters navigated city streets. Students attended classes. Financial markets rose and fell. None of them realized that humanity's first true extraterrestrial contact was unfolding in this underground nerve center. Rodriguez understood the gravity of the moment. First contact protocols were no longer theoretical exercises or academic discussions. They were happening, right now, beneath tons of mountain rock and advanced technological shielding. "Begin preliminary response protocols," she commanded. "But nothing aggressive. We observe. We analyze. We do not provoke." Lieutenant Williams input a series of complex algorithmic responses, mathematical sequences designed to demonstrate technological awareness without revealing the full extent of human capabilities. It was a delicate dance, like two unknown predators sizing each other up in the darkness. Dr. Kovacs continued her analysis, her fingers flying across specialized translation interfaces. Years of research, countless theoretical models, and unprecedented computational power were being tested in real time. Every linguist's dream and potential nightmare was unfolding before her eyes. The alien transmission carried a signature that suggested a massive technological civilization, not just advanced, supremely advanced. The communication matrices implied infrastructural complexity that made human global networks look like primitive smoke signals. Initial linguistic breakdown suggests a hierarchical communication structure, Kovacs reported. Multiple layers of meaning, not just information transfer, but something closer to a proclamation. Rodriguez felt a chill run down her spine. Proclamations weren't communications, they were declarations. The quantum computer's analysis continued, revealing fragments of an alien language that seemed to pulse with its own internal logic. Mathematical representations gave way to complex symbolic structures that hinted at technologies beyond human imagination. Something was coming. Something vast. Something that viewed humanity as nothing more than a footnote in its grand galactic narrative. Little did the alien civilization know that humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to transform from an underestimated footnote into an unexpected force of nature. The United Earth Defense Council chamber buzzed with a tension that bordered on electric anticipation. Major Michael Thompson stood at the center of the circular room, his presentation display illuminating the faces of the world's most critical decision-makers. Gone were the days of national divisions. This was humanity's collective moment of reckoning. "Gentlemen, madam," Thompson began, his voice carrying the weight of decades of military strategy. "What we're facing is not just a potential invasion. It's an existential challenge that will define our species' future." Behind him, holographic displays tracked the alien signal's continued transmission. Each passing hour revealed more of its complex structure, a linguistic and technological puzzle that defied conventional understanding. The world's top research facilities have been working in unprecedented collaboration, pooling resources that would have been unimaginable mere weeks ago. Dr. Robert Chen, Chief of Global Technological Integration, leaned forward. His team had been working around the clock, developing adaptive defense systems that could respond to threats beyond human current comprehension. "Our satellite network is being completely retrofitted," he reported. "We're implementing quantum entanglement communication protocols that can change encryption in microseconds." The room fell silent as a new set of images appeared. Experimental spacecraft designs that blended theoretical propulsion systems with hastily adapted alien communication technologies. Weapons systems that were more about intelligent response than brute force. Each presentation slide represented months of work compressed into days of frantic innovation. General Catherine Martinez, head of the United Global Defense Command, studied the tactical projections with a predator's intensity. "We're not just preparing a defense," she stated, her voice cutting through the technical discussions. "We're preparing to demonstrate that humanity is not a passive species waiting to be conquered." Across the globe, military and scientific installations hummed with unprecedented activity. In Silicon Valley, tech companies that had once competed now worked in seamless collaboration. Research universities transformed their laboratories into round-the-clock innovation centers. Private space exploration companies redirected entire research divisions toward a single goal: understanding and preparing for the potential alien threat. The quantum communication network was expanding at an exponential rate. Experimental AI systems, previously restricted by ethical and computational limitations, were being unleashed to analyze every fragment of the alien transmission. What had once been theoretical research was now humanity's first line of defense. "Our primary challenge," Thompson continued, highlighting a complex simulation, "is our own diversity. What the potential alien threat sees as a weakness, our fractured global systems, is actually our greatest strength." He demonstrated how human unpredictability could be weaponized. Traditional military doctrines relied on predictable responses, structured hierarchies, and established combat protocols. Humanity's strength lay in its ability to improvise, to find solutions in the spaces between established thinking. Dr. Elena Kovacs joined the presentation, her linguistic analysis adding another layer of complexity. "The transmission suggests a highly structured civilization," she explained. "But structure can be a limitation. Our ability to adapt, to think beyond established paradigms, gives us an unexpected advantage." The room watched as she demonstrated how human communication differed from the alien signals. Where the alien transmission was linear and hierarchical, human communication was a complex web of interpretations, metaphors, and creative connections. In orbital research stations, scientists worked on experimental shield technologies, nano-adaptive materials that could reconfigure themselves faster than any targeting system could predict, quantum-entangled defensive networks that could respond to threats before they were fully formed. Major Thompson's final slide showed something both terrifying and inspiring: a complete reimagining of human defensive capabilities. Not just weapons, but a holistic approach that treated potential conflict as a multidimensional challenge. "We are not preparing for war," Thompson said, his final words resonating through the chamber. "We are preparing to define our place in a universe that has yet to understand what humanity truly represents." Outside the council chamber, the world continued its daily rhythm. Most humans remained unaware of the potential cosmic drama unfolding. But in research labs, military installations, and technology centers across the planet, the most important preparation in human history was taking shape. Something was coming, and humanity would be ready. The void between Earth and Mars erupted in a cascade of impossible light. Lieutenant Emily Chen gripped her fighter's control systems, her breath measured and calm despite the chaos surrounding her. The Zarkon invasion fleet had arrived. Massive crystalline vessels that defied human understanding of space engineering, their hulls shimmering with energy barriers that should have been impossible to penetrate. "Eagle Squadron, maintain formation." Chen's voice crackled across the communication network. Her modified F-87 Raptor, a hybrid of experimental human technology and hastily adapted alien signal analysis, responded to her touch with a fluidity that bordered on sentience. The first wave of Zarkon attack ships moved with mathematical precision. Each vessel seemed to predict defensive maneuvers before they could be executed. Massive energy weapons discharged in patterns that suggested an almost prescient understanding of tactical positioning. To any other species, it would have been a hopeless engagement. But humans were not any other species. In the command center beneath Colorado, Captain Jessica Rodriguez watched the battle unfold through a web of quantum-linked sensor arrays. "Activate secondary response protocols," she commanded, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces that would have seemed like magic just months ago. The human defense strategy was anything but traditional. Where conventional military doctrine would call for concentrated firepower, the Earth Defense Fleet embraced chaos. Smaller ships moved with an almost organic unpredictability. Each vessel was more than just a weapon. It was a node in a living, breathing defensive network. Lieutenant Chen's squadron represented the pinnacle of human innovation. Their fighters carried adaptive quantum-encrypted communication systems that could change operational parameters faster than the Zarkon could target them. Experimental nano-adaptive hull materials shifted and reconfigured with each incoming energy discharge, dispersing potential damage across molecular structures. "Target identified on Vector 7-3 Delta," Chen called out. Her co-pilot, a sophisticated AI system developed by a consortium of global tech companies, was already calculating optimal engagement strategies. The line between human intuition and machine precision had become beautifully blurred. The Zarkon invasion force had anticipated a straightforward pacification mission. Their tactical databases suggested a quick, decisive victory against a technologically inferior species. They had not anticipated human ingenuity. Massive Imperial battleships found themselves outmaneuvered by swarms of smaller, more adaptable human craft. Where the alien vessels moved with calculated precision, the human fighters danced, using gravitational dynamics, experimental propulsion techniques, and a fundamental understanding of combat that went beyond mere technological superiority. In orbit around Mars, the first true test of human resilience unfolded. The Red Planet became a backdrop to a ballet of destruction and survival. Zarkon energy weapons that should have obliterated entire squadrons found themselves absorbed, redirected, transformed by adaptive human technologies. Dr. Elena Kovacs monitored the engagement from the underground command center, her linguistic analysis providing real-time insights into alien communication patterns. "They're becoming confused," she reported. "Our response is completely outside their predictive models." The human defense was a living organism. Each ship was more than a weapon. It was a collaborative intelligence. Damage to one vessel immediately redistributed tactical information across the entire network. What the Zarkon saw as individual fighters, humans had transformed into a unified adaptive system. Lieutenant Chen's squadron specialized in what military strategists had begun calling quantum disruption tactics. Their ships weren't just fighting. They were learning. Each energy discharge, each defensive maneuver became instant data, instantly shared, instantly adapted. Engaging secondary interference protocols, Chen's co-pilot announced. Experimental quantum communication systems began to broadcast complex algorithmic patterns designed to confuse and disrupt alien targeting systems. The Zarkon invasion force found itself facing an impossible opponent. Their technological superiority became a liability. Massive ships designed for overwhelming force became vulnerable to small, adaptive human craft that could change operational parameters in milliseconds. Captain Rodriguez watched the battle unfold with a mixture of professional calm and barely contained excitement. Humanity wasn't just defending itself, it was rewriting the rules of cosmic conflict. As the first wave of the alien invasion crashed against humanity's unexpected defenses, one thing became crystal clear. This was not going to be the easy conquest the Zarkon had anticipated. Something fundamental had changed, and the galaxy was about to learn exactly what humanity was capable of. The transmission erupted across every communication channel in the known galaxy. Imperial sovereign Kralaxios had expected terror. Instead, humanity delivered a message that would become legendary, a compilation of human achievement, resilience, and unyielding spirit that defied every predictive model in the Zarkon database. David Goldstein sat in the primary communication hub, his fingers dancing across quantum-encrypted interfaces. A prodigy who had once been dismissed as a conspiracy theorist, he now stood at the forefront of humanity's most critical psychological counteroffensive. The transmission wasn't just a message, it was a declaration of human potential. The first layer was mathematical. Complex algorithms that demonstrated humanity's understanding of universal mathematical principles, but with a twist that would make alien mathematicians question everything they knew. Prime number sequences that contained hidden layers of complexity, mathematical proofs that suggested dimensions of thinking beyond linear progression. Then came the visual history. Scenes of human achievement flickered across interstellar communication bands. The moon landing, a moment when humanity looked at an impossible challenge and simply decided to overcome it. Clips of medical breakthroughs, showing humans healing their own kind with a dedication that bordered on the miraculous. Technological innovations that transformed entire planetary ecosystems. But the true genius was in the narrative structure. Dr. Elena Kovacs had spent weeks designing the transmission's linguistic architecture. Each image, each mathematical sequence was carefully constructed to challenge the Zarkon's fundamental understanding of intelligence and potential. A montage of human survival played out. Scenes of natural disasters overcome. Communities rebuilding after catastrophic events. Individual acts of sacrifice that demonstrated a collective resilience beyond any technological calculation. A child learning to walk after a devastating injury. Entire cities reconstructed after seemingly insurmountable challenges. The Imperial sovereign watched in growing confusion. This was not the response of a species preparing for subjugation. This was the defiant roar of a civilization that viewed challenges as opportunities for growth. Military footage showed something equally unexpected. Not just technological prowess, but tactical creativity that defied conventional understanding. Human soldiers displaying adaptability that seemed to transcend individual training. Collaborative strategies that transformed weakness into strength. They're communicating in ways our systems cannot comprehend, reported the lead xenopsychological analyst in the Zarkon Command Center. The transmission wasn't just a message. It was a multi-layered psychological warfare technique that attacked the very foundations of Imperial thinking. David Goldstein allowed himself a slight smile. Each fragment of the transmission contained layers of meaning, mathematical sequences that could be read as both communication and potential weapon. Visual narratives that challenged the very concept of linear progress. The transmission continued, a relentless demonstration of human complexity. Scenes of scientific discovery played alongside moments of profound human emotion. A researcher's breakthrough juxtaposed with a child's first steps. Technological innovation shown alongside acts of individual compassion. The message was clear. Human potential couldn't be measured by technological metrics alone. Imperial strategists found themselves confronting a fundamental problem. How do you prepare to conquer a species that doesn't recognize the concept of defeat? Each moment of the transmission was a quantum puzzle. Mathematical sequences that seemed random but contained profound underlying patterns. Visual narratives that challenged the very concept of linear understanding. Musical compositions that demonstrated complex emotional and mathematical structures simultaneously. The communication hub buzzed with controlled excitement. This was more than a response to an invasion threat. This was humanity's first true introduction to the galactic community. Dr. Kovacs watched the transmission's progress, her hands steady on the quantum communication interface. "We're not just defending," she muttered. "We're redefining the entire concept of first contact." As the transmission completed its first galactic cycle, something unprecedented happened. The Zarkon communication networks began to slow, then stutter. Not from any direct technological attack, but from the sheer complexity of processing what they had just witnessed. Humanity had just fought its first interstellar battle, and it hadn't fired a single weapon. The psychological warfare had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Advanced Research Complex in New Mexico blazed with activity that defied traditional scientific boundaries. Dr. Rachel Martinez stood at the epicenter of humanity's most ambitious technological transformation, her eyes reflecting the holographic displays that mapped alien technological signatures across multiple quantum interfaces. "We're not just reverse engineering," Martinez told her team of international researchers. "We're completely reimagining the fundamental principles of technological interaction." What had begun as a defensive strategy had evolved into something far more profound. Research facilities around the globe had transformed into 24-hour innovation centers, breaking down every barrier of institutional and national limitation. Universities, private tech companies, military research divisions, all now operated as a single unified intelligence network. The first breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A team of materials engineers in Tokyo discovered a method to adapt the quantum crystalline structure of captured Zarkon hull fragments. What should have been an impenetrable alien technology became a canvas for human innovation. Dr. Michael Wong, leading the materials research team, demonstrated the breakthrough to a global audience. A small fragment of alien technology, previously considered unbreakable, now responded to human manipulation in ways that defied previous scientific understanding. "It's not about breaking the technology," Wong explained. "It's about understanding its fundamental communication language." In orbital research stations, engineers worked on experimental propulsion systems that blended human creativity with alien technological principles. Each captured alien system became a puzzle, not just to be understood, but to be transformed. Lieutenant Emily Chen, fresh from the first space engagement, provided critical insights. Her combat experience offered a practical understanding that pure theoretical research could never achieve. "Every weapon, every defensive system has a language," she told the research teams. "We're learning to speak that language." The global research network operated with an efficiency that would have been impossible mere months ago. Quantum communication networks allowed instantaneous sharing of breakthrough discoveries. A molecular breakthrough in a Brazilian laboratory could be integrated into a spacecraft design in Japan within milliseconds. Dr. Rachel Martinez's team focused on the most challenging aspect, understanding the alien communication matrices. Their quantum computers worked to decode not just the technological signatures, but the fundamental philosophical approach behind Zarkon technological design. "They think in linear progressions," Martins noted during a global briefing. "We think in adaptive networks. That's our greatest advantage." Experimental laboratories developed hybrid technologies that blended human intuition with alien technological principles. Nano-adaptive materials that could reconfigure themselves faster than any targeting system could predict. Quantum-entangled communication networks that could respond to threats before they were fully formed. The breakthrough came during a late-night research session. Dr. Elena Kovacs, working with a multinational team of linguists and quantum physicists, discovered that the alien technological signatures contained complex linguistic patterns. What had appeared to be pure technological communication was actually a form of advanced language. It's not just technology, Kovacs explained. It's a complete system of communication that blurs the line between language, technology, and consciousness. Research facilities around the world began developing technologies that could not just defend against the alien invasion, but fundamentally challenge the Zarkon's understanding of technological potential. Experimental spacecraft designs merged human creativity with alien technological principles. Weapon systems became adaptive intelligence networks rather than simple destructive tools. In San Francisco, a team of neural network specialists developed quantum communication interfaces that could predict and adapt to alien technological signatures faster than the Zarkon could modify their systems. Each captured technological fragment became a lesson, each analysis a step toward a complete understanding. The global research effort represented something unprecedented in human history. National boundaries dissolved. Competitive instincts transformed into collaborative intelligence. Universities, tech companies, military research divisions, all now operated as a single unified innovation network. Dr. Martinez looked at the holographic displays that filled the research complex. What had begun as a potential extinction event had become humanity's most significant moment of technological transformation. "We're not just defending," she told her team. "We're rewriting the fundamental principles of technological interaction." The Zarkon had arrived expecting to find a primitive species ready for conquest. Instead, they had awakened something far more dangerous, a civilization that viewed technological challenge as an opportunity for unprecedented growth. Humanity was learning to speak a new language, and the galaxy would soon understand its true voice. The crimson landscape of Mars bore silent witness to humanity's most critical engagement. Admiral James Washington stood on the reinforced observation deck of the United Earth Command Station, his weathered hands clasped behind his back as holographic battle projections danced around him. "This is more than a battle," Washington murmured to his second-in-command, Commander Sarah Rodriguez. "This is our species-defining moment." The Zarkon invasion fleet had concentrated its full might around the Red Planet. Massive crystalline battleships that dwarfed human constructions hung against the starlit backdrop, their energy signatures pulsing with what should have been overwhelming technological superiority. Hundreds of smaller interceptor vessels created a defensive matrix that defied traditional military understanding. Lieutenant Emily Chen led the first wave of human response. Her modified F-87 Raptor squadron represented the pinnacle of human technological adaptation. Each fighter carried experimental quantum adaptive systems that could reconfigure defensive and offensive capabilities faster than the alien targeting computers could process. Engaging primary interference protocols, Chen's co-pilot announced. The human fighters moved with a fluidity that seemed to defy the basic laws of space combat. Where Zarkon vessels moved in mathematically precise formations, human ships danced, unpredictable, adaptive, alive. The battle began with a series of quantum communication bursts that the Zarkon had not anticipated. Experimental jamming technologies developed by Dr. Rachel Martinez's team created interference patterns that scrambled alien targeting systems. Each human fighter became more than a weapon. It became a node in a living, breathing defensive network. Admiral Washington watched as the first wave of Zarkon energy weapons discharged. To any other species, it would have been a moment of absolute terror. The massive energy signatures could obliterate entire planetary defense systems, but humans had been preparing for something far beyond conventional warfare. The experimental nano-adaptive hull materials on human spacecraft began to tell their true story. Energy discharges that should have instantaneously destroyed entire squadrons were absorbed, redistributed, transformed. Each attack became a learning opportunity, each defensive maneuver an instant of technological evolution. "They're becoming confused," Commander Rodriguez reported. tracking the alien fleet's increasingly erratic movements. The Zarkon tactical systems had been designed to predict and neutralize threats with mathematical precision. Humanity's fundamental unpredictability was breaking their computational models. Lieutenant Chen's squadron specialized in what military strategists had begun calling quantum disruption tactics. Their ships weren't just fighting. They were learning. Experimental AI systems integrated combat data in real time, sharing insights across the entire human defense network faster than the aliens could adapt. The battle around Mars became a three-dimensional chess match that defied traditional understanding of space combat. Human fighters used gravitational dynamics, experimental propulsion techniques, and a fundamental understanding of conflict that went beyond mere technological specifications. Dr. Elena Kovacs monitored the engagement from the underground command center, her linguistic analysis providing real-time insights into alien communication patterns. "They're losing cohesion," she reported. "Our response is completely outside their predictive models." A critical moment emerged when a group of smaller human vessels appeared to retreat. The Zarkon tactical systems interpreted this as a vulnerability, moving to press their apparent advantage. It was a fatal mistake. The retreating vessels were actually drawing the alien fleet into a carefully prepared quantum interference zone. Experimental weapon systems developed in secret research facilities activated quantum entanglement weapons that could target multiple vessels simultaneously, gravitational manipulation technologies that could reshape the very fabric of local spacetime. The Zarkon found themselves caught in a technological trap they couldn't comprehend. Admiral Washington allowed himself the slightest smile. This was more than a military engagement. This was humanity demonstrating its true potential to the galaxy. The battle around Mars became a turning point, not just in the potential alien invasion, but in humanity's understanding of its own capabilities. Each moment was a revelation, a demonstration that technological superiority meant nothing without the ability to adapt, to think beyond established paradigms. As the first wave of the Zarkon invasion crumbled against humanity's unexpected defenses, one thing became crystal clear. This was not going to be the easy conquest the Imperial forces had anticipated. The Martian landscape continued its ancient, silent vigil. Humanity had just rewritten the rules of cosmic conflict. The Zarkon Imperial Research Division found itself confronting an impossible dataset. Humanity was not a species that could be categorized, predicted, or easily understood. Each piece of intercepted human communication revealed layers of complexity that defied their most advanced analytical systems. Dr. Elena Kovacs had become the linchpin of humanity's most critical psychological defense. Her team of linguists, anthropologists, and quantum communication specialists worked tirelessly to demonstrate that human potential transcended traditional technological measurements. "They're looking for linear progression," Kovacs explained during a global briefing. "We're a species of chaos, of unexpected connections. Our greatest strength is our ability to find meaning in the spaces between established understanding." The Imperial genopsychology team struggled to process human cultural transmissions, music that contained mathematical complexity, art that challenged fundamental perceptions of communication, scientific discoveries that emerged from seemingly random collaborative networks. A single human research facility demonstrated more innovative potential than entire Zarkon planetary systems, where the Imperial civilization valued perfect hierarchical structures. Humans thrived on disruption, on challenging established paradigms. Major Michael Thompson presented a comprehensive analysis of human cultural resilience. Captured communication networks revealed a species that viewed challenges as opportunities for growth. Personal stories of individual triumph became collective narratives of potential. A montage of human experiences flooded Zarkon communication networks. A child overcoming a seemingly impossible medical challenge. A community rebuilding after a devastating natural disaster. Scientists collaborating across national and cultural boundaries to solve global challenges. The Imperial researchers discovered something profound. Humanity's apparent weakness, its cultural diversity, its seemingly chaotic social structures, was actually its most powerful adaptive mechanism. In research facilities around the globe, teams worked with an intensity that defied traditional understanding of collaborative effort. A breakthrough in a Brazilian laboratory could be integrated into a spacecraft design in Japan within milliseconds. National boundaries had dissolved in the face of a collective challenge. Dr. Rachel Martinez's team explored the philosophical implications of human adaptation. "We don't just solve problems," she argued. "We transform them. Every challenge is an opportunity for fundamental reimagination." The Zarkon discovered that human communication was not a linear process. It was a complex, multidimensional network of ideas, emotions, and potential. Mathematical sequences contained emotional complexity. Musical compositions revealed scientific principles. A captured transmission showcased a global research network that operated beyond traditional institutional boundaries. A teenager in Kenya could contribute to a quantum physics breakthrough developed by a research team in Sweden. Creativity knew no boundaries. Imperial strategists found themselves confronting a fundamental problem. How do you prepare to conquer a species that doesn't recognize the concept of defeat? Each intercepted human communication became a puzzle. Mathematical sequences that seemed random but contained profound underlying patterns. Cultural narratives that challenged the very concept of linear understanding. Collaborative networks that transformed individual potential into collective innovation. The philosophical battlefield extended far beyond traditional military engagement. Humanity was demonstrating a form of resistance that went beyond physical defense. A resistance of imagination, of potential, of fundamental reimagination. Dr. Kovacs watched the global communication networks, her hand steady on the quantum interface. "We're not just defending," she muttered. "We're redefining the entire concept of intelligent life." Captured Zarkon databases revealed their growing confusion. Human communication networks defied their most advanced predictive models. A single human could shift between multiple professional and creative disciplines. Research teams formed and dissolved based on creative potential rather than hierarchical structures. The Imperial researchers discovered something truly terrifying. Humanity viewed technological and cultural challenges as opportunities for collective growth. Each setback became a moment of potential transformation. A transmission intercepted from a small research facility in New Zealand contained a breakthrough that challenged fundamental principles of quantum communication. A community art project in Brazil revealed mathematical principles that confused Imperial research teams. Humanity was fighting a war on a battlefield the Zarkon could not comprehend. Not with weapons, but with imagination. Not with destruction, but with potential. The galaxy was about to learn that technological superiority meant nothing compared to the human capacity for unexpected innovation. The Imperial Command Center fell silent as the final tactical projection materialized. Imperial sovereign Kralaxios watched in growing horror as humanity's ultimate response took shape, a defense that transcended every known principle of cosmic conflict. Admiral James Washington stood before the United Earth Council, his presentation a masterpiece of strategic brilliance. "They believe they can destroy us," he began, "but they fundamentally misunderstood what humanity represents." The Zarkon's Planet Killer Protocol was their last desperate attempt to ensure total victory. Massive energy systems charged, preparing to unleash destruction that had conquered countless civilizations across the galaxy. Computational models predicted total human extinction with mathematical precision. Those models were about to be spectacularly wrong. Dr. Rachel Martinez's global research network had been preparing for this moment since the first alien transmission. Experimental quantum shield technologies developed in collaborative research centers around the world began to activate, not as a simple defensive mechanism, but as a transformative system that would do something unprecedented. The planet killer weapon fired. What happened next would be studied by civilizations for generations. Instead of destruction, the massive energy discharge found itself redirected. Quantum-entangled defensive networks, developed through unprecedented global collaboration, began to absorb, redirect, and transform the destructive energy. Each moment of potential annihilation became an opportunity for technological innovation. Lieutenant Emily Chen led a final squadron of adaptive spacecraft. These were not just fighting vehicles, they were living systems of collective intelligence. Experimental AI systems integrated combat data in real time, sharing insights across a global network that moved with a fluidity that defied traditional understanding of military engagement. Imperial communication networks began to collapse. Dr. Elena Kovacs watched the engagement from the underground command center, her linguistic analysis revealing something profound. The Zarkon were not just losing a battle, they were confronting a fundamental reimagination of conflict itself. The planet killer weapon continued its discharge, but now it was no longer under the control of the Imperial forces. Humanity had transformed a weapon of total destruction into something entirely unexpected. "We're not destroying," Admiral Washington explained to the stunned Earth Council. "We're demonstrating." The energy discharge began to reshape itself. Mathematical sequences emerged within the weapon's core. Complex communication patterns that contained layers of meaning far beyond simple destruction. The Zarkon found their most powerful weapon becoming a message, a communication more profound than any traditional diplomatic exchange. Quantum communication networks across human research facilities began to synchronize. What had appeared to be a defensive engagement transformed into something far more complex. Each moment of potential conflict became an opportunity for collective understanding. The Imperial Sovereign watched in growing confusion as their ultimate weapon of destruction was transformed into a demonstration of collective potential. Experimental technologies developed in research facilities around the globe began to activate. Gravitational manipulation systems that could reshape local space-time. Quantum entanglement communication networks that operated beyond traditional understanding of information transfer. Dr. Rachel Martinez's team had prepared for this moment, not as a moment of conflict, but as an opportunity for collective growth. The planet killer weapon's energy began to dissipate, transformed into a complex communication matrix that contained scientific, philosophical, and cultural information. Mathematical sequences that revealed humanity's potential. Musical compositions that demonstrated emotional complexity. Scientific principles that challenged fundamental understanding of cosmic interaction. Imperial communication networks began to receive a transmission that would redefine their understanding of intelligent life. Not a declaration of war, not a threat of destruction, but an invitation to understand, an invitation to grow, an invitation to recognize that technological superiority meant nothing compared to the capacity for collective imagination. The Zarkon found themselves confronting a fundamental truth. Humanity was not a species to be conquered. Humanity was a potential partner in cosmic evolution. As the final energy discharge transformed into a complex communication matrix, the galaxy watched and waited. Humanity had just rewritten the rules of cosmic interaction.